do you think that Black women need a Black patriarchy? And the reason I ask this is because a lot of times when I talk to women, for example, I posted this actually yesterday, where it was all these women essentially complaining about how men didn't build. And they continue to go back to white masculinity, or they continue to go back to different things that have been achieved essentially under white patriarchy, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, essentially what you were asking for, okay, provision, protection, man being first, woman being second, all these things that you're asking for is essentially a patriarchy. Mm-hmm. So in your opinion, do you think Black women need a Black patriarchy? In order for these things, because these are all ideas, but like there has to, at a certain point, in order for communities to be set up, there are institutions, there are different things that need to be set in place for that will actually set the foundation for families and communities to act in a certain way. So I'm thinking, do you think that is what would need to happen in order for there to be a big shift?
Yeah. So that's exactly what I was stating before. We're letting men be men. So it's what a man is, it's a leader. What a man is a protector. I mean, men are so much, but that's the main role is to lead, that's why men are more logical, because they can think more clearly than me that go sometimes off emotions. So in order for us to work, women have to step back and let men lead. And we need that leadership. So that's what has to be done. But in order for women to let men lead, women are going to have to give the Black men the benefit of the doubt, like they can and they want to, and not be scared to let them.
Okay, so then your point, so then you would say yes, a Black patriarchy would benefit Black women. That is to say, a system that gives men the ground and the freedom to lead and to build and to create institutions and to create essentially a system that would benefit Black communities. That would also mean that that may also mean that women maybe don't have as much agency, as much right, as much freedoms in that moment, but you think that would be helpful overall for repairing the Black family?
Yeah, absolutely. So even with that, I definitely think that child support system needs to be changed, because women have obviously more power over that, and we can use your children against you. So those are things that needs to be changed. I think the no-fault divorce is something that was detrimental, because it gives us more access, if not more, than men now, and we can afford it now. Back then you couldn't, and you had to go through a longer process to get out of these relationships. So again, it's letting men lead also goes in besides the house, but also things legally with child support, with marriage, and things like that. So it all plays a role in it, and with male leadership.
Okay. So you mentioned you think, child support obviously has been bad, no fault divorce, different things institutionally that have happened to negatively impact not only just families in America in general, but Black families in particular. You would be in favor of those things being reversed. You would also be in favor of a Black patriarchy that would give more rights and give more freedom to men to establish and build a system that would allow women to essentially rest in their femininity, right? Or basically allow women to collaborate in a way where masculine and feminine is more balanced.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Yeah, that, I can appreciate you for saying that, because you'll be hard pressed to hear a woman, I think, actually own that. I guess a case in point, I had the conversation a few days ago where, now granted, these are divestors, so I know divestors usually come in bad, in my opinion, or my experience, they usually always come in bad faith. But they essentially were preaching for a Black patriarchy, which is why they were saying that they were divesting, because there wasn't one. But that's what they were essentially saying they wanted, but then they would never say they wanted a Black patriarchy. Because I'm like, for those women who don't like Black men, having Black men be in charge, having some, I don't want to say somewhat of a dictatorship, but having a Black man be an authoritarian, if you have fear of Black men, and if you have basically believe these ideas that men are inherently bad, or Black men in particular are inherently bad or violent or whatever, you're not going to be happy with their authority. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes women will talk out of both sides of the mouth. They'll say that Black men are oppressive and they're this, and that, but then they need to build. And it's like, okay, well, if you want them to build, are you going to give them the leeway and the power? And then are you going to help support them build? What are you willing to do to now help create a system where they can do that and you not get in the way? So that's where sometimes these arguments start to kind of disintegrate, when you really get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense. It's, I want you to lead, but I want equality while you lead. So you want them to have all the responsibility, but you also want to take half of everything that they have built and take credit for. So that doesn't make sense at all. So no, I'm definitely not. I want you to lead it all.
Right.
Okay. Lead in the home, and I have 3 brothers, so I have seen a lot that men go through by the eyes of being there with my brothers.
Okay.
I get how the court system favors women, and how my brother had to work 10 times harder, spend 10 times as much money, have the best lawyer to have custody of his 2 boys. So I've seen that. I've seen women take their child away from their father just because of how they feel, and how that child is neglected because of that. And that's not love. So I've been there and I've seen it as far as with the men. That's why I have complete empathy towards men. So as far as with leadership, a lot of things have to change for them to have their rightful role back in the community.
And would you say that role was taken away by their rightful role? Do you think it was taken away by women, by the institution, by both? It was a collaboration. Like, what do you think removed the role that Black men have had in the Black community?
That's a great question. I think, I guess if we're talking about child support and parents getting custody, that change is, of course, with the feminist movement. And was it women were screaming for it? So I'm going to have to say, it was women that changed the narrative on how we are right now, because we wanted more control. We wanted to be equal as men, but not knowing that we're not able to take care of all those responsibility of leadership. And that's why I think a lot of our community is failing, because we have women leading the community, and there's no real great community that has been led by women. That's a man's role, and he needs to do his role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you would say largely the large, I guess, push that Black women made towards feminism, really after the civil rights era, really helped drive this divide that we now see the ramifications of it today. Decades later, we're really seeing it in full form.
Yeah. So, a lot of stuff has happened, but that's one major thing. So that's one major thing, I think. And it was creating a system that women felt like we did not need men, and that we can do the exact same thing as men. So I think our mentality is, I don't need you, I want you, meaning I can take care of all the bills. I can raise the kids by myself. I can do all this by myself. But not knowing that just because you're able to take care of your rent, now we're seeing that the eviction rate is higher among Black women. Right. So obviously you can't maintain. And now we're seeing there's a lot of mental issues that we have, so you can't. And I see that's manifesting in things when you're out of order.